What's up? Welcome to this week's edition of 5 Minutes of Management. As always, I'm Frank Kalman here with Rick Bell. Rick, we've reached the middle point of summer, which means September is just around the corner, and that means Workforce Live in Chicago, Dallas, and San Francisco. We'll be coming to Chicago at the Four Seasons on September 1st, Dallas again at the Four Seasons in Las Colinas on September 7th, and then we'll be at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco on September 22nd. So 3 great events for Workforce Live.
Free bacon?
Free bacon.
Nice.
Free bacon, free eggs, breakfast potatoes, fruit.
Sweet.
The whole spread.
And then we also have Workforce Focus on Employment Law that's coming up in November in Chicago. So definitely keep an eye out for that too.
Rick, good news if you are a dental hygienist or a business manager, your jobs are safe from the robotic takeover. According to a new report from McKinsey, those jobs are the least likely to be replaced by robots. As for the jobs that are most likely to be replaced by robots, if you work in food service or anything where your task is very computational and very repetitive, those are the jobs that are most at risk of being taken over by robots. So, according to the McKinsey study, such tasks account for about 1/5 of the time spent in the U.S. workforce. That's those computational, service-oriented, repetitive tasks. And even more in some types of manufacturing. So the report estimates that 59% of all manufacturing activities could be automated, a figure that rises to 90% for welders, cutters, and solderers. So solderers. Not good news if you work in manufacturing.
If you're a solderer.
Not good news if you work in video journalism and you can't pronounce words.
It's okay.
What
about dog walkers? I want a mechanical dog walker.
I think we're still a little bit of ways from that happening.
Damn.
But anyway, good news for your dental hygienist.
That is good news. And Frank, we've talked about it before. It's like you see that more and more mechanization is creeping into the workplace. It's not a surprise, but there's always going to be a need for the human element and the human touch. So I'm not too awfully worried about my prospects, but then again, there are a number of positions that can be taken over by robotics, including solderers.
As long as journalists are safe, that's all that matters.
We hope.
So what else do we got?
Well, Frank, we've also talked a lot about the Cadillac Tax, which is the 40% excise tax that's involved with the Affordable Care Act that's being placed on employers that have what's the so-called Cadillac benefits programs. Well, finally, we're starting to see, we've had businesses complaining about it almost since its inception, but now we're starting to see some political muscle behind it. 40%, believe it or not, that congressional support for its repeal has reached 300 members of the House of Representatives. Like I said, bipartisan support. So that's really important. The number of co-sponsors signifies that nearly 70% of members in the House support the effort to repeal the Cadillac tax. And that's obviously good news to employers and benefits managers, because there's any number of industries that are complaining that we just will not be able to afford benefits if this Cadillac tax is pushed through.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, you want something else?
Sure.
So the Aetna Humana and Anthem Cigna Corp deals could be done by July, but there's still a lot of regulatory issues that they're going through. The analysts generally feel like Aetna Humana is more than likely to win approval, but the Anthem Cigna merger, it's a little bit on the rocks right now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we've got for this week's edition of 5 Minutes of Management. For Rick Bell, I'm Frank Kalman. We'll see you next week.
Take care.